I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me...
I kick him in the nuts!
Oh, boy.
It's a common lament. After many trials and tribulations, the PCs finally stand before their nemesis. The final confrontation, the ultimate moment that you've all been building towards for weeks, has finally arrived. You rub your hands with glee as you step into the role of your villain. Roy Batty from Blade Runner, Hannibal Lecter, Marlon Brando in Apocalypse Now, Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth! I'm having an old friend for dinner. Greed is good. Nobody panics when things go according to the plan. This is it, the villain's denouement. But the players don't want to hear it. They just want to shoot the bad guy in the head. What we have here, obviously, is a mismatch in expectations. You want the big dramatic moment, and you're not wrong. A good villain monologue, or even better, a dialogue between the heroes and the villain, can be an incredibly powerful and memorable moment. But for the simulationist, you obviously don't stop and chat in the middle of a SWAT raid. And the gamist wants to seize the tactical advantage of getting the first shot. Even other dramatists at the table may think that subverting the trope is a cool moment. And they may be right. But you want the monologue. Fortunately, it's super easy to pull this off. 1. The PCs burst into the room. The villain is there. 2. Call for an initiative check. 3. Begin monologuing. 4. Finish monologuing. 5. Start resolving initiative actions. And that's it. You can actually use this technique for all kinds of stuff, not just monologues. Anytime you need to seize control of the flow of table declarations, just call for initiative. Initiative structurally tells the players that they need to wait for their turn in a way that the whole table just reflexively accepts. This works because you're also making a promise. Calling for initiative says, I understand that you want to take an action here, and I promise you that you will be able to do so. Now, it's important to keep this promise. Talking is a free action, so the villain can monologue. But they shouldn't be allowed to do a whole bunch of stuff like summoning minions, activating their machine gun turrets, casting a spell, walking out of the room, let alone all of those things at once, while the PCs are impotently frozen in place by narrative fiat. Screwing the players like this will deeply frustrate them, and importantly, make it even more likely that they'll want to shoot the next villain in the head before you screw them over again. Play fair, on the other hand, and the players can actually enjoy the moment, and even work with you to make it happen. Now, there are other methods you can use to achieve this too. Method number 2. Put the bad guy in a position that they can logically monologue without interruption. For example, she can talk to them over a walkie-talkie as they fight their way up through a megacore oncology. Or the PCs can be assaulted by creepy telepathic messages as they crawl through the dungeon. Or they can confront each other from opposite sides of a wall of force. Basically, if the villain monologues from a position where the PCs can't shoot them in the head, then the PCs can't shoot them in the head. QED. Method number 3. Monologue during the fight. Now, this doesn't work if the PCs actually do one-shot the bad guy in the first moments of the fight, but rather than giving a big speech before the fight starts, you can weave the villain's dialogue through the whole fight. If you want to prep this, just break your monologue into bite-sized chunks. You can deliver the chunks on each of the villain's turns, or you can trigger each bit on every character's turn. You'll probably want to take a looser approach, though. Breaking the monologue up like this makes it more dynamic, and it also invites the PCs to engage in a dialogue with the bad guy instead of just listening to them ramble on. Lean into that by having the bad guy push their point of view and actually try to challenge the PC's beliefs and convince them that they're right.
Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son.
Method 4. Just let the PC shoot them in the head. In my video on the principles of RPG villainy, I told the tale of Cillian, a cult leader who had been a thorn in the side of the PCs for many sessions. While infiltrating her lair, the PCs snuck up on her while she was digging through a box of archaeological artifacts. They rolled a critical hit, and they put an arrow through the back of her skull. Was that moment anticlimactic? Not at all. My players love this moment. They remember it vividly years later, and they tell the story every chance they get. Monologues are awesome, but the truth is that you can rarely go wrong following your player's lead. Now, you also won't go far wrong by dropping down into the font of all knowledge and hitting the subscribe button. I've also left a link down there to the Principles of RPG Villainy video I was just talking about. It's filled with a bunch of tips for not just having your villains talk, but for making the players care about what they say. Good gaming. This is Justin Alexander, and I'll see you at the table.